Hello, welcome to Top Dice. Welcome to another episode of our random question generator. Joining me on our quest for answers today is Lee Williams,
Yep.
Allan, and Steve. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Some of you haven't done this before, but we had a quick run through before, and well, it should be fun. So,
always is.
First of all, we'll just go round the table, as it were. Say hello. What's new with you guys? So, throw you in at the deep end, Lee. What's new with you, role playing wise?
Well, I don't have a regular in-person group, so it's mainly little bits of online stuff. Currently, plotting some scenarios for future use at online conventions, maybe in-person conventions as well. A couple of one-shots. That's what I'm working on.
Nice. Steve?
Just ploughing through my vast amounts of WFRP at the moment. And then I had 7th edition Cthulhu land on my doorstep while I was at work. So a nice present to Allan when I got back. And that's about it really for me.
Cool. Allan, anything new?
New with me. So for Games Expo, I got one of my adventures that I put out earlier this year. I decided to get some printed. So there's now an adventure module to go with the secret files of Section D, which it came out absolutely gorgeous. Actually, I didn't get them until the day before Expo, but they came out really nice. And then I've also picked that up as well, which I backed it. It's the Celts for Chivalry and Sorcery. I backed it on Kickstarter a while back, and I picked that up and been having a little look through it, and it is gorgeous. It's one of the best things that Steve and the Britannia guys have done for ages, in my opinion. Lovely book. So yeah, that's me.
And that's hard. And that's a hardback book as well.
It is, yeah. And he's doing Kickstarter fulfillment on them, and then they'll be on general sale in about a month, I think, because there was a slight delay with the printers because there was a mix-up with the quality on. He's done like a leather-bound cover with sort of gold inlaid artwork and things, and the logos and stuff, and they look amazing. But the printers had a little bit of difficulty with them, so they threw a batch in the bin and said, no, they're not good enough, we're going to do them for you again. And they rushed a bunch of these ones over to Games Expo and what have you. So yeah, because I backed at that level, I was able to get my book. So.
Cool. So
yeah,
well done. What's new with me? I'm waiting on two Kickstarters. One's the Minds of Moria expansion for the One Ring.
Oh, nice.
I went all in on that one. I backed it for the special edition cover. Wow, it's gorgeous. And then I got three big sort of maps as well that go with it. I'll be doing a video about that. Okay, top down close look at that one. Quite interesting. The maps, for example, one's of the Shire, I think. One is of the sort of the known Mines of Moria sort of locations, and the third one, I can't remember what it was, so that'd be a nice surprise. The second is the Advanced Fighting Fantasy Role Playing Random Adventure Creator book that they decided to put together. I think it comes in about 400 pages.
Wow.
So you're looking at sort of basically that book, the main book, but it's basically just random. Well, I say just, it's random tables for everything you could think of to sort of completely sort of create from scratch your adventure, sort of like Death Trap Dungeon, kind of sort of feel. I don't know whether they're taking it Overland as well as Dungeons and things like that, because the PDF hasn't hit yet. So fingers crossed, it should be quite interesting. And then I'm also looking at taking my role playing games online, running them online as well. So we'll see. See how that goes, because my regular group, unfortunately, we've kind of like split up, which is a shame. But the real world will come in and, you know, demand attention. So that's that. So anyway, nice to catch up with you all. Onward to our quest for answers, random questions. I've gathered you together, so hopefully we will we will survive this next stage of the quest. I'm hoping. Last time was a bit touch and go. It's like, will we get to the end of it? But we did. It was good. So I'm going to choose who goes first. So Steve,
you always pick on me.
I do.
I'm bullied. You're bullied, and now I'm bullied.
Yes.
So.
I used to live in Stourbridge in Birmingham, so I'm picking on you. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Stourbridge is in Birmingham. Don't tell them that.
So, Steve, could you roll a d20, please, and I'll see what your question is.
That'll be a 12, young man.
A 12, sir. Right. Okay. Tell us about a character from a past role-playing game that you like. This could be one of your own or someone else's, even an NPC.
Second edition WFRP. I actually, from scratch, I actually did a map and sort of like a key and of Grenstadt, which is in Allan. And there was a guy, he hadn't really gamed much with us, but then he come on board, and he made an innkeeper. He was an innkeeper, but he turned out to be like a Del Boy dwarf in his in his shenanigans. So got to quickly touch on it. The most memorable moment in the game is I'm there running it, and they are involved in corruption in a rifle shooting competition, rifle shooting tournament. So there, I sort of laid it out, so there's a big holiday and people are arriving in Grenstadt to sort of like attend this big tournament. So there we go. There's the background. What are you going to do? Right. And his words were, I'm going to go to one of the local warehouses. I'm going to buy about 12 heavy-duty tents. I'm going to do VIP camping with its own bar area and blah, 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 blah. And like there was just this, when he finished this spiel, we was just all sat there like that. And the only thing I could say was, okay. And then he just went from there. But the whole scenario, that was their base camp, was the beer tent during this rifle shooting tournament.
What beer and rifles? What could possibly go wrong?
Oh, there we are. Yeah. So, but even going on from after that, because I actually took the group to Altdorf, and they were sort of like there was a protagonist who was giving them sort of little jobs to do for the good of the empire, and it was just the way he role played the game. It was such a good, this dwarven innkeeper. Goran Goranson was his name, Goran Goranson. So that's my most memorable character.
Excellent stuff, brilliant. So, Alan, on to you.
Okay, that's a trusty D20. What have we got? 8.
4 and 8, right. Okay then, you ready? You sat down?
Go on, hit me.
What makes a good role-playing system?
Ooh.
Oh, wow. Okay, that is so much a personal choice, isn't it? What makes a good role-playing system? So, I'm going to answer from my own perspective, and for me, it's got to be that the system allows the players to engage. I'm a firm believer that any role-playing game, any role-playing session is only as good as the GM, and but a system can ruin the work of a good GM if the system's not right. So I fell out with D&D at sort of 3.5 because now we had a GM and he was a great GM. We played with him for many years and through many great campaigns, but he had a scenario, and basically 2/3 of a 10th level party got wiped out on the base of one saving throw, and that to me was just wrong, because there was no sort of foreshadowing that that this beastie, it was a beholder. We've climbed down into this cave and there's a beholder in the cave, and we get, right, make a saving throw, and as a party of 6 people, 4 people fail the saving throw, you're dead.
Yeah.
And we were all like, what? Pardon? And it's like, well, that's the adventure as written. So I'm answering the question first of all by saying what's a bad system, really. So what makes a good system, I think, is something that the game master doesn't have to think too hard about, and that allows the players to engage and role play. The players shouldn't have to think too hard about it, but more importantly, I think the system should support what players want to do to tell the story, rather than putting a rigid framework around it to make it really difficult.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So, like, when you look at a system like Savage Worlds, everybody knows that I love Savage Worlds, but that system makes it so easy for players to try and push their luck and do that one extra little cool thing, and to me, that's what makes the game more engaging for the players. So
yeah, see,
there you go.
Yeah, that's what took me from D&D 3rd edition to Savage Worlds, because it was more. I was able to say yes more, and also create more of the characters that I wanted as well, which I thought was a bonus. But yeah, excellent answer. So, Lee, you've seen my first 2 victims. You are my 3rd.
Okay.
So, moving on to you, sir. Roll a d20. Let's see what your fate is this week.
We have a 5.
5. Lots of low numbers, guys.
Do we get 2 questions if we roll a 20?
A critical question.
A 1 gets you 2, and a 20, I don't know, a prize of some kind. I don't know. No idea. What's that off camera? So 5, sir. Right, number 5. What do you prefer? A campaign or shorter adventures? And that can be, either as a player, a GM, or both.
Well, I'm more used to one shots and like maybe 2 shotters, because like I was saying earlier, when I do get to game, it's usually at a convention or it's an online session. I used to do a lot of campaigns. I'd like to get into a campaign again, but I don't think I could do the long ones like when we were kids, week after week after week.
Yeah.
I mean, 10 or 12 parter. I think I could do that, and I could give that my full. I could give that my full attention. It wouldn't start to flag, and I wouldn't start to flag. I can manage that long. Yeah. So I'm preference. Yeah, I'd rather do something a bit longer. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Right then. Let me think. Steve, I pick on you, don't I?
You do, yeah. Stop it.
Yes. Well, I'm picking on you again. You're going to roll for me this week, please.
Oh, well, hang on then. Oh, I don't mind that. This could be your undoing.
Let's have a go. See what we can do.
Oh, shock horror! It's a 1. I can see it from here.
No, it was an 18. I was almost a critical, and 18.
It's the highest number we've had so far in all our episodes. Right. I've just read what it is, and lock your doors, mate. I'm coming to get you. Right. I wrote these. What IP needs an RP, needs a role-playing game that has not got one?
That's a good question.
That's a great question.
And there's a few, but my go-to on this one is always the worlds of Druss the Legend, the Draenei series.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was first introduced to Druss and all his legendary adventures by my partner. She said, read these, changed my life. And then I was like, well, where's the role-playing game? There wasn't one. And there never will be one, I believe. So it's just I would die a happy man if tomorrow it was revealed that, Free League, for example, got the license to produce the Draenei sagas, whatever you call it. Something. I'd love to see the Draenei sagas or something similar like that. So yeah, for me.
So I can I could weigh in on that a little bit. So a few years ago, I was just getting going on my writing career, but I was working with Triple Ace Games and Wiggy Williams a little bit, and we sat down actually at UK Games Expo. Me and Wiggy sat down because I've wanted to do a Draenei role playing game. In fact, one of the most memorable campaigns I've ever played was set in that. It was obviously a homebrew. The aforementioned GM that I was talking about earlier on, who the D&D thing, but he ran a Draenei campaign using chivalry and sorcery, and it was epic, absolutely epic. And ever since then, I've thought, well, why not? Why isn't there one of those? So me and Wiggy got our heads together, and we actually put a proposal document together, and we sent it to the Gemmell estate and said, here's what we want to do, here's what we won't do, here's what we would like to do. I had the backing of David Gemmell's daughter. I had the backing of his best friend, Stan. Oh God, who's the guy that writes the Orcs books?
Oh, Dan, yeah, I know who
He's
you.
got.
Yeah,
Nichols. Is it Stan Nichols?
Yes, it is. Thank
Nichols,
you. Yeah, he's gonna hate me for that if he sees this. But I had backing from people on that side of things. And the whole proposal document, the whole shooting match, we did it properly, and it just fell on completely deaf ears. And my understanding for that is that there was an unwillingness to license out the IP for an RPG, because if anybody ever puts together an IP license that might do a series or movies, they don't want to have the gaming side of it ring fenced. They want to have it available if somebody ever goes and asks for the IP in the right way to do movies or a series. And the only way that will happen is if the people who want to make movies or a series do not want ownership of Gemmell's characters. And he was always very against that. It was, there were numerous occasions where there was going to be a movie of Legend, or there was going to be a movie of John Shano, for example, and they kept trying to sneak in the clauses whereby the film studio could, if they wanted to, they could do, Legend 2, The Further Adventures of Druss, or something like that, and they wanted ownership of the characters, and David Gemmell would not allow that, and that's why there's no movies, no TV series, and no games. Apart from there was a game for Legend out on the ZX Spectrum long time ago, wasn't there? But that's why there are no role-playing games.
Shame, but I can see the point. I can see his, you know what I mean? I can see his point because, you know, you put all the time and effort into creating such sort of epic lands and characters and events, and you know, sort of you know, the long-landing. I can't speak today. The long-lasting legacy that is the Draenei series and all the associated works, and you don't want it ruined by someone, coming in and personally doing a Rings of Power to it.
Yeah.
I mean, if Tolkien were alive today, I don't think that would be happening. If his son was here, my God, he'd be destroying the actual, footage itself physically. He's not opposed to it.
Yeah.
I get it, but it's just a bloody shame that we can't, like now. I couldn't run a game now. The official Draenei roleplay. It would be awesome. Really would.
And I know, we were talking earlier about what makes a good role playing system and things like that. And we pitched when we pitched the idea, we were putting forward Savage Worlds as a role playing system for that, because you've got the flawed characters, and you've got the cinematic kind of fast-paced combat systems and all of that kind of thing in there as well. Where you've got one old bearded guy with a massive axe wading through 50 nadir at a time kind of idea. So
yeah,
you've got a game system that supports that. So
the first time I read Legend, I always remember it, because I was living with my parents at the time, and I just picked it up and started reading it, and I remember that my mum coming into my bedroom at 2 o'clock in the morning, really, really cross, and I'd read about 150 pages in the first sitting, it was just.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the type of book it was. It was, and then
it stays with you. I've read it numerous times. I've recently listened to it on audio as well.
Yeah.
And the guy, I forget his name. The guy
Sean Barrett.
He's got this sort of grizzled, sort of epic voice for sort of. Mm-hmm. Fantasy tales, and it's I'm right back there as a kid, and it's sort of I know what's going to happen, because if you've read Drush, you know what happens. I won't spoil it. But you're on the edge of your seat, and you it's just so good. And to hear it done in that voice as well, I could listen to him.
In which case, whatever you do, don't get the audiobooks of the Rygant series, because the lady that does the narration has given, clearly Celtic and Highland inspired characters. She's given them all West Country accents, and it's most off-putting.
Yeah. I mean, I must admit that was a bit off-putting, but all these sort of when you've got hobbits with ridiculous accents and the Rings of Power and stuff like that, and there's a couple of other games where role-playing games the PC or the Xbox, whatever, and you've got apparent sort of Irish characters, and it's or Scottish, and it's the worst. It's almost like they got the worst character actors to do the worst sort of Celtic accents just on purpose. It's please don't.
Yeah, just don't even try. Yeah.
It's it reminds me kind of the first season of Peaky Blinders. Now, I'm not actually a Brummie. I am adjacent to Birmingham, and it's going. Who taught these people how to do the accents?
Yeah,
I mean, they do the Buffalo Bison joke at one point. I swear, you can't wash your hands in a buffalo.
I can't watch. Admit, I can't watch Peaky Blinders for that very reason. For a while, I lived in Stourbridge in Birmingham, and occasionally it creeps through. I had an incredibly strict, thick why can't I speak? I had an incredibly thick Brummie accent to the point where I picked up local dialect and I was calling chimneys chimblies and all that business.
Boston.
Boston.
Oh.
Yeah, of course I Boston. Yeah, of course I at all.
So, Steve,
Where are you from, Lee? If you don't mind me asking, where are you
Oh,
from?
Bromsgrove, lad, I am.
Bromsgrove. Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough, yeah.
there you go. I'll have to start picking on Lee as well.
Yeah, stop picking on Lee as well. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I wouldn't do that. It's just I just think Steve's accent's thicker, which is why I pick on you, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, I'm close to Wolverhampton. Yeah, yeah. Where are you? Where I'm moving to Warwickshire like in July, but I could jump in the car and be in Wolverhampton in 15 minutes. You know, it was as a so yeah, and then I've got family in Walsall and Dudley, and yeah, so
yeah,
there we are.
Which is how they should have been speaking in peaky.
Yeah.
But hey ho. Anyway, guys, so let's guide us back onto our adventures for questions. Anyone got anything to pick up on about what we've said? Anyone want to sort of?
Oh, just my quick thought on system is it shouldn't be visible until you need it to be.
Totally agree.
The players and the referee should be doing what they're doing, and the rule system should be behind you. It shouldn't be there until you need it. That's all. It doesn't matter. But you can run games like that anyway. It doesn't matter how complex the system is.
Yeah,
you do see these questions with new people getting into, D&D 5th edition, obviously, for example. It's like they're asking all these questions. I thought, well, you don't have to do that. I mean, even Gary used to say that years ago. You don't have to do everything it says in the book.
No, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. So the system should be there. The system should be there, and you just work along with it.
Yeah, I mean, I was a 3rd edition D&D rules lawyer at one point. To the point where.
So you were a fun vampire then?
Yeah. You'd have to ask my friends that. I don't know. But yeah, I was a proper pain in the arse. Not just as a GM as well, but as a player. I'd be sat next to the GM, like some kind of some little toady going, well, actually, it says here at this page, you can't do that. You've got to do this, you've got to do that.
Actually.
So yeah. I caused murder until I got taken to one side, and it's like, behave. So, which is another reason I moved on to Savage World, because it gave me the freedom to turn around and sort of go, yes, you did pick the lock. I'm not making you roll for it because you've got a skill and blah blah blah. No one's watching you. I'm going to move on. But also, what did help? I had a lovely game run for me by Malcolm Craig, who's bringing back some of his excellent games. And he was one of the people at the time. He showed me that system is second to story.
Yeah.
And we had an amazing adventure. It was, what were we? We were basically working on a railway. It was within A-State, the role-playing game A-State. And we were employees of one of the rail networks. We were ticket inspectors, but they're incredibly violent, and they have sticks. Basically, combine Judge Dredd with Northwest Rail. Horrors. It doesn't run on time, and they'll beat you for complaining. And so basically, we discovered something in the tunnels, and the way he ran it, he hardly rolled dice. It was It was amazing. So yeah, good point there, Lee. It's just, if it fades into the background, and your players can do whatever you want, whatever they want, just keep doing that.
I can just throw my hat in on that, like, because I mean, like everything that everybody said, I totally agree with. And you know, going back to the days of 3.5, and yeah, I mean, I couldn't name others. I mean, like, I mean, Shadowrun could be a difficult system.
Yeah.
And you know, unless you sat down and proper like digested it, it would have been, you know, and if the GM didn't know what he was doing with the system, like he was all screwed.
Yeah.
But like, you know, listening to Alan's comments a few weeks ago, you know, I'll give Castles and Crusades a try, and I am going towards that way, where the fact that the rule system is really, really simple, but the story in the background is just that vast. You can do absolutely anything with it, you know, and that's the way I'm aiming at the moment. You know, I mean, WFRP second. I mean, fourth edition's a bit more complex than second edition, but it's still easy enough to run. You know, so it's just a case of getting that story and getting people in the Empire, and it's not bogged down with the rules. It's dead simple, and people are putting more effort into the background and the story and the adventure.
I was showing seeing Castles and Crusades to people at UK Games Expo, and showing them the player's handbook and saying, you know, look, you know, you've got the character creation. It's the 6 stats that you're familiar with if you're familiar with D&D, and you've got your races and your classes, and here's the spells, and here's and then the game mechanics for Chivalry and for Castles and Crusades. The game mechanics is 15 pages. That's it.
Wow.
You know, and obviously you've got you know, there are game mechanics in the spell descriptions and bits and pieces like that, but the basis of the game is in about 15 pages, and that's all you need. It's crazy. Yeah, I've found that to be really, really good. I'm really enjoying Castles and Crusades.
Excellent. Right. Well, I think we'll call a halt to proceedings. I think we will out as we take a short rest here, and then we shall carry on next week for our. I'm going to keep saying. I know you guys cringe whenever I say it, our quest for answers. So we shall make camp here. So if you like this kind of thing, please like and subscribe, and hopefully by the next episode I'll have learned how to speak English.
You need to move away from Merseyside first, mate. I think.
I'm telling Clarky.
Did I say that out loud? Whoops.
Oh dear. Regional racism. No regional racism.
Alan, I don't know whether I've told you this off air, but I live for the Scouser, so you know. I should go and get it.
No comment, mate. That's your fault. That's on you.
I can just imagine a head just coming in from the side with a cross look, you know.
I'm the guy who tries his hardest not to sound Mancunian, so you know.
Yeah. Speaking of which, crappy systems. Alan, could you do me a favour and just make a save against death versus foot in mouth? Good, that would be awesome. What have you got? I got
a 14.
Unfortunately, guys,
I'm dead.
He survived, and he will be hopefully with us next week. Excellent stuff. Minus the regional racism.
Oh, well, you know.
Regional racism. It's the one we can get away with.
On that note, we go stop before we get in serious trouble.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Guys, thank you very much. Join us next time. Please like and subscribe for more questions. Thank you.